Monday, everyone. It's Kimberly Beer here with Make It Happen Monday. One thing you can do this week to better market your business. And this week, we're going to be talking about getting to know your customers. So, my February theme is all about target marketing and customer interviews and customer avatars and really getting to know our customers. My ultimate goal for you is to actually let your customers write your sales material. Now, I know some of you struggle with writing your sales material, and especially my artist crowds. I hear that a lot when I give presentations at the art house about marketing. My artists always look at me and say, "Hi, I hate this. I don't know what to say. I don't know how to communicate to my customers." So if that resonates with you at all, boy, are you in for a treat for this whole month. Because what we're going to do is we're going to break down some steps over time and teach you how to let your customers write your marketing for you. So you don't have to do it. All you have to do is organize it. So today's Make It Happen Monday is a really simple challenge that is probably going to trip some of you up. So I'm going to tell you right ahead of time. Sounds super simple, but I know in the actual doing part, it's not. So if you can take a moment, breathe, be mindful of the fact that if you will do this over the next week, and I'm kind of tightening it down on you to tell you need to do it in the next week, because if you keep putting it off, you won't do it, and then you won't see the benefit from it. But just kind of buckle up and say, I'm going to do this. I'm going to trust Kim. I'm not going to try. Do or do not. There is no try. Thank you, Yoda. But you are going to interview 7 of your customers over the next week. So let's use that mindful language and use that mindful intention to really get to know our customers. So there's a couple of rules. One thing is that you need to record the interviews. Now you can do that using Skype. You could also put the person on speakerphone. This is just for your edification. It's not for any kind of marketing. It's just so that you can quote that person very specifically. Because what happens is we interpret, and this is a human thing, by the way, we interpret what people say, and then we reframe it in our own language. And what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about how you might be able to use your customers' language, because frankly, they're the ones who really know what it is that communicates to them about your product, your service, your nonprofit, your art, your coaching, whatever it is that you're doing. So I want you to be able to listen to their words verbatim, because that's going to be key and critical as we move into some of the key wording exercises and some other things that I want to teach you over the next month. So somehow you need to get that interview recorded. If you decide that you just are going to be able to take notes, and that's acceptable, please be mindful as you write down their answers that you use their words. Again, we're not looking for testimonials here. The questions that I'm going to tell you, they don't have anything to do with people grading your business. You're not going to publish them in their entirety. What you're looking for is you're just looking for information about how people found you, how people view you, how they have had an experience with you. And trust me on this, I've done this exercise myself within my own business, and it is incredibly enlightening. So record the interview. Now you're going to use those answers. You're going to use the words. You're going to use the meanings to be able to shape your marketing materials as you, again, move through the month. So now we're going to get on to the questions. Now these are just questions that I recommend. You don't have to use them exactly, but I do want you to follow a few rules around it. So no more than 5 questions. Keep them easy. Don't make your customers have to do homework in order to do this. You want to be able to ask them the questions and get them to answer the questions right then and there. And don't stress about this. If you're stressed when you make the phone call or you ask these questions, then your customer is going to get stressed as well. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to your customers. And by the way, this can be on the fly. If you are a retail business, pick out 7 sales over the next week and say, hey, could you take just a few minutes and answer a few questions for me? I'm trying to improve my business and I'd really like your help. And I also don't want you emailing these questions to people. I want you to, this is not a survey. This is an interview. This is where you actually ask the questions. One more rule, it's not on the page, but it's really important. I want you to listen more than you talk. Now, we as humans tend to listen to people's feedback with the concept of answering that feedback somehow. Don't do that. It's not your job in this case to answer a question or to somehow add to the dialogue. It's your job to listen and to really let that person to be able to express themselves. One of the things that I read in a book a long time ago, and it was a Tony Hillerman novel. If you've ever read Tony Hillerman, he writes these wonderful books about, I think he's passed now, but he wrote these wonderful books about the Navajo, and they're crime novels, and they're incredibly interesting. If you ever get to dive off into that subject, it's he's wonderful. At any rate, the Navajo have a way of speaking that they want the person that they're talking to or that they're having a conversation with to be able to get their full thought out. And in order to do that, they don't respond right away. They sit and wait. After one person in the conversation finishes talking, then the other person is courteous and lets them have a really uncomfortable amount of time for the rest of us to be able to add something to the conversation. So if you're an extrovert like me, you want to fill the white space of silence with noise. So you will keep on talking. And if you're an introvert, a lot of times it takes you a little bit longer to process all your thoughts into language. So those moments that you allow that feel a little uncomfortable, that's when some really honest things can come out. That's why I want you to go into this with the thought of listening more than you are talking, and then really allowing the person on the other end to be able to think fully through their response. All right, on to the questions. So here's 5 easy questions that I would recommend. The first one is, how did you learn about our business? Now, theoretically, we should all ask this question when anybody comes into our business, but a lot of times we don't. The world is a busy place and we don't often have times to do that. So maybe we need to go back and ask that question. Now, here's the caveat with that question. The answer will usually come pretty easily, and sometimes it will not be reality. I used to work answering the phones for a product sales company, and I also ran their marketing program at the time. And I would ask this question to every single person who called into the office. How did you hear about us? How did you hear about this product? And they would tell me a lot of times, well, I saw an ad in such and such magazine. And mind you, I'm running the marketing program. I know we did not advertise in that magazine, but it tells me that for them, a printed ad tripped that trigger that got the phone call to happen. Sometimes it was that they saw a video on YouTube, or that they met someone, or that they were referred. Remember, it's how that person associates how they learned about your business. So how did you learn about whatever your business is? How did you learn about us? If you're an artist, you can say your name in that spot. You don't have to put in your art business. How did you learn about us? And it's really important in this case because you're learning how that person found you. And I will tell you, you'll often be surprised at the number of people that find you through referrals and recommendations. Those are usually the top answers there. It may differ for your business. It may show you something that you never even thought about, or maybe you have an underutilized place that you have been marketing, and now you know that that's where a lot of your customers are coming from. The second question I want you to ask is, what motivated you to buy whatever it is that you're selling? Whatever it is, what motivated you to finally pull that trigger and buy? A lot of times this will be a pain point. This will be something that, particularly for my coach group of folks, that person just got to the final breaking point of saying, I just knew I couldn't go any further with whatever it happens to be. Or maybe you'll find out that it was a discount or a sale that actually tripped that trigger. That's happened for me as a consumer. But here you're learning what it is that triggers the sale. Now, later on, you can utilize this in your marketing materials because you'll know how to address right to that point. You can cut right to the chase and really, really be able to actually trip people over into purchasing. So how does your, question 3, how does your, whatever it is, product, service, nonprofit, art, whatever it is, make that person's life better? So how does our, whatever it is, make your life better? Now, this goes to that benefit proposition that we often talk about in writing marketing materials. When I talk to my coaching group, we aren't selling coaching, we're selling transformation. A lot of times, from a lot of my mission-based marketing folks that are selling a product, we're not really selling the physical product. What we're selling is the change in the life of the person who owns that product. The same goes for art. And I know artists look at a lot of my business stuff and go, that really doesn't apply to me. But it does. Your art does change people's lives, and it does make it better. So this really gives you an opportunity to know that benefit or value proposition of what it is that you're selling. The fourth question that I like to ask is, if you could use only 3 words to describe our whatever it is, what would those words be? Because this tells you what your customers are relating exactly to your specific offering. And it tells you in their language. Now, again, this is a place where, as a business owner and a marketer, we tend to extrapolate what our customers say, change and modify it into something that we want to portray. Don't do that in this interview. Stop, be quiet, let them answer the question, and write down verbatim what those 3 words are. And look for commonalities over the 7 people. And then final question, if we were at a party, how would you introduce me? How would you introduce my business? How would you introduce me to someone else? And this question will tell you how that particular individual would go about marketing you if that was their job. And you can get some great information from this particular answer in knowing how other people want to talk about your product, your service, your nonprofit, your art, your coaching, whatever it is that you're doing. So in 5 questions, we have a really nice way to guide our marketing towards our target market. We know what that person is, how they found us. We know the trigger that motivated them to purchase. We know a benefit proposition. We know some words that they use to describe what we're doing. And we also know that if it were their job to sell our particular product or service, let's face it, a lot of us are uncomfortable talking about ourselves, so we've let someone else do that in this case, how they went about it. So in 5 questions and less than probably 10 minutes, we have a really good snapshot of how we might want to make our marketing more pertinent to the customers that are buying. Now, a couple other little caveats that I want to mention. Please pick the customers that you want more of for this particular interview process. Don't pick the customers that you want less of. There are some of us out there that there's certain clients that come into our business that we don't find the perfect fit. You know those dream customers that you have. Try to choose those dream customers for this particular exercise. Also, you don't have to limit it to 7 people. If you want to interview 14 people, or you want to interview 21 people, or you want to interview 28 people, please go ahead and interview those people. And you don't have to keep it in multiples of 7, although that seems to be my multiple this morning. So anyway, go out there, make it a really successful week within your business, and take some time to interview your customers. Oh, one other thing. What if you don't have customers? Then pick the folks that you believe would be the most apt to purchase, and then modify the questions for, what would motivate you to buy? What would about our product, service, or nonprofit make your life better? And then the last 2 would be good for anyone, whether they were a purchaser or not. So thank you. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday.